Everybody here know what PEN America is? PEN, PEN America. According to their website, PEN America stands at the intersection of literature and human rights. And it's more or less a writers' organization. And it stands to protect free expression in the United States and worldwide, PEN America, or PEN. They champion the freedom to write. They champion the power to recognize the power of the word to transform the world. In the beginning was the Word. You've heard that before. Their mission is to unite writers and their allies to celebrate, I'm quoting, creative expression and defend the liberties that make that possible. And they add this: over the past 100 years, PEN America has advocated for free expression, defended writers and artists at risk around the globe, had fought censorship in the United States and abroad. Our cause has been made all the more urgent by the current wave of book bans and censorship in schools. And that it offers that people like you and me can learn more about PEN and even support them to whatever degree we might want to by going to their website. I think it's pen.org, P-E-N, pen.org. The reason I bring this up, unbeknownst to me until I saw this today, the Christian fascists, a.k.a. Republicans, have introduced 377 educational intimidation bills since 2021 around the country. Education intimidation. This is according to PEN America's spokesman, Jonathan Friedman. 377 bills that are designed to establish a climate of fear among educators, librarians, school officials. This according to a report released yesterday by PEN America. Now, distinct from the outright censorship measures that these Christian fascist lawmakers have decided to do in a number of states in recent years, these educational intimidation bills, according to the report, quote, pressure educators to be more timid in the content they teach, to pressure librarians to be more restrictive in the books they make available, and pressure students to limit their self-expression without imposing direct prohibitions. The report adds this, quote, put simply, these so-called educational intimidation provisions, as we have dubbed them, empower the use of intimidation tactics to cast a broad, chilling effect over K-12 classrooms by mandating new and intrusive forms of inspection or monitoring of schools, as well as new ways for members of the public, including in some cases citizens with no direct connection to the schools, to object to whatever they see that they do not like. Now, it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, that this is exactly what happens in Putin's Russia. The Russian people, all 130 million of them, I believe that's still a true figure, have been told, look, go about, earn your rubles and take your 1 week vacation to the Black Sea and drive your Lada cars or whatever the hell they're called, but don't ever fucking even think about challenging our glorious leader, Vladimir Putin. And don't even think, citizens of Russia, that you are going to learn actual history in your classrooms. You will learn science so you too can grow up and send a rocket to the moon that crashes because the people who designed it did not have the proper education. Woo! It's going on here. You know this. You know this as well as I do. Now, this bullshit, this intimidation, as we all know, is introduced usually under the guise of protecting parental rights. And these bills require students to receive approval from their parents before they take part in or exposed to any instruction related to gender identity, among other things, or racial history. What does this lop-eared son of a bitch from Florida call it? The governor there, what does he call it? Woke educational projects? Jesus, yeah, go back to sleep, you son of a bitch. And these so-called parental rights bills pretend like they're giving parents and other state residents more power to review and protest instructional materials. The key word there is protest. Review? The average parent who attends one of these school board meetings in East Bumfuck, Iowa, has the common sense to review, say, I don't know what, any kind of a book, any kind of a novel that has any reference whatsoever to, say, homosexuality. How about In Cold Blood, written by a homosexual about a horrible murder in Kansas, the Clutter family, and how the two killers in the book, Perry and what was the other one's name, were actually dealing with subsumed homosexuality. So we were led to believe in the book. But I digress. Between January 2021 and June 2023, PEN America found a total of 392 educational intimidation bills introduced in various legislatures across the United States. 377 of them were led by the Christian fascists. Now, what does that say about the other 15? Did those come from Democrats? I'm not sure. And nearly 40 of these bills, out of 377, were signed into law in 19 states. And over roughly the same period, according to the report, teachers and librarians reported a surge in written and verbal threats related to topics considered politically controversial. Can you imagine if Truman Capote were alive today and somebody said, well, we're not going to have In Cold Blood into our school library because the two killers, you make the impression, or you give the impression that they might have been gay. Oh, no. And according to PEN, of the intimidation bills introduced this year in 2023, 45% have an anti-LGBTQ provision, including the forced outing of students, of children. That's what the Christian fascists want. I guess they figure, the Christians figure, well, if this student, this young person, might be dealing with the reality that they may be trans or gay or bi or what have you, then they deserve to fucking die. Because by outing them, it'll put such tremendous pressure on a 12 or 13-year-old that suicide may be seen as the only way to relieve the pressure. This is what the Christian fascists are doing. This is what the Christians, who happen to be fascists, are doing. Not Jews doing this. Not Muslims, not Hindus, not Buddhists. In this country, anyway, it's the Christians. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.